The next day, I wake up feeling a little lightheaded. It's almost noon already. Sleeping late is fine since it's Sunday and there are no classes. Not just a Sunday though, but the festival as well. From my window, I can already see some people at the soba booth slinging noodles onto plates with people with a craving for low quality food. I throw back a handful of my morning meds and ponder how to spend the day. There will be a few exams in the coming week, and I don't consider those as ominous as others, so I'm not as worried about them as I probably should be. With no urgent obligations regarding education, I should be free to spend the day at the festival as I like. Finishing my morning routine, I exit into the hallway, intending to go out and find something to eat. Passing by his door, I decide to see what Kenji's up to, out of impulse. I'm curious to see if he has any plans, since everyone's doing something. Then again, I can picture him having built a soundproof shelter in his room, or possibly something like a fort, complete with a "No Girls Allowed" sign, and with "Girls" crossed out and "Body" crudely scrawled underneath it. Knocking on his door, which is luckily devoid of any kind of sign, I hear again the unsettling clicking of at least 10 locks being pulled back. The door opens up a crack. Who is it? You're supposed to ask that before you open the door. Can we just skip through this? We can. Okay. We've gone through this spiel with Kenji before. A couple hundred times now, I think. Maybe not 100. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. Okay, so we see her at the booth. Let's take off scale. Seems that the teacher's mission paid off. There are now a dozen students helping, and as much unpacking has been done. Despite most of them seeming quite relaxed as they work, Lily still appears to be somewhat stressed. Right, I know what I'll do. Even if it's just one person, I'll make the festival more enjoyable for her. As I place the bowl on the counter, I call out to Lily. Ah, so, you brought it back? Yeah, here. I slide it into her hands, and she takes it over to somebody who is apparently on cleaning duty. Considering that I didn't see them here before, it's probably plenty to their tardiness. Hey, Lily? She perks up and returns to the counter as she hears my voice again, realizing that I'm still here. Want to go see some more of the festival? She puffs her cheeks out disapprovingly. It looks kind of cute, and in complete contradiction to her usually reserved nature. She can't see the festival, so. It takes a few seconds for me to get what she's taking issue with. Oops. I didn't mean to. Lily giggles at me, exposing her teasing for what it is. So how does she know about puffing out her cheeks as like a physical sign? Right? I feel like she wouldn't know to do that. It's just things like that. So, you're still not used to this school, are you? She got me. Still, I kind of still need to stay with our stall. It's taken up until just now to even get everything unpacked. I guess her reluctance shouldn't overly surprise me, considering how much work she's putting into this. Everything seems to be running fine now, though. Besides, you've got extra help on hand anyway. The boy in the middle of cooking and some soba noodles turns around, grinning. Go on, Lils. You've earned yourself a break. But you can hold down the fort for now. If you say it's okay, then I suppose so. But if you need any help, then we'll call you. Go on. We'll be fine. Lily finally gives up her resistance as he waves a spatula at her. She feels her way around the back of the stall and picks her cane on the way. I guess the first thing we should do is look for Hanako. Lily seems kind of worried about her, and I doubt she'd be the kind of person to be enjoying milling around in crowds like this all alone. So I guess we should search for Hanako? Where to? Both of us go quiet for a moment to think. Maybe she's in her dorm room. I doubt it. She didn't keep too many things in there, so she'd have nothing to do. The library, yeah. The library. As a good place for any search. As good a place as any to search for an avid reader, I suppose. He has random sentences that are crazy hard to read, just on first glance. The library it is. We'll check there first, then. Aside from the muffled sounds of the crowd seeping in from the outside, the inside of the school seems almost deserted. In order to make sure everyone has enough room, I guess all the events were organized to be held outside, on the school grounds. They're definitely quite large by any other school standards. It's nice and quiet in here, isn't it? Yeah, much nicer than the hustle and bustle outside. We take our time and slowly walk through the first floor of the school, eventually reaching the stairs to the second floor. I can't help but notice how Lily anticipates every door and obstacle in her cane, remaining still, and her hands skating along the hallway railings. I don't know if I would put her on the stairs. I mean, I know she could do it, but, wouldn't it just be easier to take an elevator? They have to have elevators for wheelchair-accessible students. This is a wheelchair-accessible hallway, right? They have to have elevators. Why are you taking the stairs? You really know the school well, don't you? She smiles and nods straight ahead. I've been here for a few years now, so I know where everything is. Dorms still trip me up, though, sometimes. I haven't been there as long, and they're not as well laid out as the main building. If I'm remembering right, they used to be unused buildings before being renovated to be used as dormitories. That explains why the male and female dorms look so different from the outside, and why their rooms seem kind of unusual for sleeping quarters. I'd assumed she'd been living in the dormitory since she began attending the school, but now I'm reminded of what she said yesterday. That's right, you mentioned that before. I'd assumed that most of the students here lived in the dormitories once they were enrolled. A lot of them seem to, in any case. Lily's expression becomes somewhat harder to read, my questioning and evidently touching a delicate point. Well, how should I say? Everyone has their reasons. Something tells me that one of those reasons is Hanako. Hence her tiptoeing around the answer. My own predicament is yet another such case. I guess it's a choice everyone here would have to make for themselves, or, in my instance, have made for them. Can't be helped, I suppose. At least Yamaku itself seems like a nice place. It's good to hear you say that. I thought you were coming to dislike it. What about you, though? My reversal of Lily's statement takes her by surprise. I've been here for a while, so it's not that. You just seemed pretty depressed about Akira. What's with that look? Akira's taken. Sorry, Isao. Lily never sees how fast my palm meets my face with that sly accusation. Hey, I was worried about you. There's no way to respond to concern. That's no way to respond. While she gives an amused grin, we round the corner of the hallway and enter the library. As we do so, it isn't hard to spot Hanako, considering that the room is completely devoid of anyone else. Given that there is no staff around, I guess that there's no need to head to the usual library rules, and I call out to her. Hey, Hanako! Hanako is here? As she hears our voices, Hanako's head flicks up from behind a book, probably the same one she's been reading on Friday. Is that Lily? I haven't had to read her in so long either, it feels so crazy. Just thought we'd drop by. Lily managed to escape the noodle stall with a little help. That wasn't really an escape. Hanako gives a small giggle, briefly surprising both of us. I just thought that Lily might not be enjoying the festival. Well, now we can enjoy it together, right? The two happily nod before getting out of the library and toward the festivities. I hand over some change to the girl behind the counter and take 2 styrofoam cups of tea. I try to accentuate my bow a bit to cover for the fact that she's quite obviously deaf. Come to think of it, I probably should have asked for help instead of leaving those 2 in the gardens while I brought drinks. Trying to juggle the 2 cups of hot tea for them and a can of coffee for myself out of a vending machine isn't exactly easy. Wouldn't you just take the tea and then come back and then get the coffee and go back? I mean, I guess maybe you have a heart condition, you want to run or something, but it doesn't seem that bad. With some careful maneuvering, though, I managed to keep everything stable and upright as I walk over to the bench where Lily and Hanako are sitting and chatting. It's actually quite a nice place, lit only by moonlight. It's tucked away some distance from the main events. Compared to how hot it has been during the day, this spot is also pleasantly cool by now. Not that it matters all that much. Most of the visitors have moved to areas that are either closer to the fireworks or higher on the hill in order to view the display apparently planned. Welcome back, Isao. Her ears are good. I'm not exactly close, and even Hanako hadn't noticed me. Here you go. It's instant, but that's all they had left by now. Hanako gingerly takes the cup from my right hand, and I gently place the other 2 into Lily's outstretched hands. Did you enjoy the festival then, Isao? Yeah, it was pretty fun. It's an honest answer. Much of the food has already been somewhat subpar, but it was a lot of fun in the end, especially with Hanako and Lily. In fact, I think those 2 may have enjoyed themselves more than I did. With both Lily and me around, much of Hanako's withdrawn nature and others died down enough for her to enjoy herself. So we're watching the fireworks from here, on like the ground floor. We watched them with Rin on the ground floor too, right? By the mural, I think. We watched them with Shizune on the rooftop. We watched them with Hanako in the tea house, which is crazy that we're not there now. Because we watched them with Lily then too. I guess we were being more considerate of Hanako and being like, let's get her out of this crowd or something. And then Emmy, I forget where we watched them with Emmy. Were we also on the ground floor? We didn't watch them with Emmy, did we? I think we just went to bed. That's crazy. Why didn't we watch them with Emmy? As we sit drinking, the whistle of the first firework rings out before it explodes into a vibrant shower of blue against the night sky, heralding the beginning of the end of the festival. Enthusiastic shouts can be heard from the crowd scattered around the school grounds celebrating them. For minutes on end, Hanako and I watch the fireworks overhead as Lily blissfully listens, then with her eyes shut. Red, green, yellow, star-shaped, circular, and patterned. All manners of shapes and colors fill the air, one after the other, dance across the sky. No place near where I lived put on such a lavish display. Festivals like this were kind of a thing of the past in such a metropolitan area. To be seeing such a sight with these two is probably the happiest I've been in a long while. So that's it. The festival's finally ending. Yeah. She gives a delicate, wistful sigh. As much as might complain about all the stuff we have to do, it's still sad that we were graduated before the next Yamaku festival. I walk towards and stand beside Lily, gently resting a hand on her shoulder. Don't worry, we still have Tanabata later in the year, right? It's crazy that he's mentioning that. It literally never shows up in any other route except Shizune's. You're right. It would be nice to go there when it comes. Minutes of silence pass, with only blasts of fireworks to be heard. Seeing these two reminds me of those words of advice Lily had given me when we walked into town together. Cherish the opportunity to make new friends. Hey, Lily. She turns her... So are we gonna, confess right in front of Hanako? That'd be crazy. She turns her head slightly to show that she's listening. Hanako's gaze still firmly fixated on the Technicolor fireworks bursting into her head. Do you mind if I join you two for tea every now and again? The smile on her face is more than enough for to see her answer. It would be a pleasure, Sam.